I'm Emily Harper, 28 years old now, and only a couple of weeks back, I wrapped up my master's in business from one of the top schools on the West Coast. Something that felt like climbing a mountain no one in my family had even dreamed of attempting. You'd think that would put me right at the center of their world, the one they bragged about at every gathering. But in the Harper household, I was always the shadow lingering just out of sight. My younger sister Sophia, who's chasing a career in medicine, has forever been the shining star that my parents orbit around, while I've been the steady hand keeping things running without a spotlight. I told myself for so long that if I just kept grinding, they'd eventually turn and really see me. Deep down, though, I sensed I'd always be on the edges of their affection. What I never saw coming was that the night set aside to mark my big win would rip apart the thin veil we'd all been hiding behind, with my parents saying things so cutting that it shattered whatever bond we had left. Right then, I knew the child they'd never fully embraced was slipping away for good. Has anyone ever thrown words at you that stung so bad you wanted to scrub them from your brain, especially on a day that was supposed to be all about lifting you up? If any of this hits close to home, maybe putting it out there will spark something in someone else. Help them claim back their own value. We met up at this upscale place called Riviera Grill in Portland, with its starched linens glowing under soft lighting and the hum of conversations from folks who seemed to have it all together. I'd reserved a cozy side room, footing the bill for every plate, every glass of wine, every little extra to make it special. It wasn't me trying to flaunt anything after scraping by with odd gigs, piling up debt from school, and pushing through endless days. I just craved one simple night to toast what I'd built from scratch. I greeted everyone with a warm nod that didn't quite light up my face the way it should have. There were mentors from my program, a few work buddies, my boss from the marketing agency where I'd landed a solid role, and some fellow grads who seemed truly excited to share the moment. Then my folks showed up, Linda and David Harper, looking polished as ever in their neat outfits, carrying themselves like the event was more about them than anyone else. No bouquet, no quick note of congrats. Sophia was a no-show, claiming a tough rotation at the clinic, but I had a feeling she just couldn't be bothered for something not centered on her. I handled the hellos, seeing my parents mingle with firm grips and easy grins. Praise started floating around, the sort I'd quietly hoped they'd catch wind of someday. One of my instructors beamed and turned to them, saying, "You've got to be bursting with joy over Emily. Wrapping up that degree takes real grit." Mom let out this light, breezy chuckle and shot back, "Oh, we're thrilled for both our daughters. But Sophia, our little one, she's deep in her medical training, handling emergencies, and making a real difference out there. That's the stuff that counts." The room went quiet for a beat, like everyone was holding their breath. I kept my expression steady, locked in place like armor I'd worn too many times before. A bit later, my supervisor stood up for a quick speech, talking about how I'd stepped up during tough projects, rallying the group when things got chaotic. "Emily's one of the sharpest minds I've seen come through," he said with real warmth. "She's going places." Claps echoed around, heartfelt and encouraging. I glanced over at my parents, searching for even a spark of that same feeling in their faces. Dad gave a casual chuckle. "She's smart, no doubt, but Sophia's out there every shift, pulling people back from the brink. That's the pride that sticks with you." It landed like a rehearsed line, as if my whole path was just set up for Sophia's spotlight, the savior, the one who truly shone. The table tensed up, glances bouncing around awkwardly. One of my colleagues, sweet as could be, jumped in to smooth it over, leaning toward Mom and saying softly, "Even so, Emily's done something amazing. You must feel great about that. Mom's smile was distant, almost offhand. It's decent enough, she replied. Then Dad circled back, diving into tales of Sophia's grueling hours, her patient stories, all the lives touched. Next to someone in the trenches like that, he added with an easy wave. A business degree doesn't quite stack up. That was it, the moment everything cracked. I slid my chair back, the scrape cutting through the hush like a warning. Chatter faded out. My words came clear and firm, stronger than I'd planned. Do you even get what it took to reach this point? The endless nights without rest. The jobs I juggled to keep from burdening you at all. Mom's mouth tightened into a line of silent judgment. Dad stared like I was the one making a scene. I covered Sophia's school fees. I wired cash when bills piled up. I skimped so we all stayed afloat. And still, I'm just the background player. The atmosphere thickened, breaths shallow, and paused. I wasn't addressing the crowd anymore, just the pair who'd overlooked me for years. Dad stood then, color rising in his cheeks, but his tone stayed even, slicing deep without volume. We regret ever having a kid like you. A sharp intake of air from around the table, silverware clinking in shock. For a second, the world blurred, not from emotion overwhelming me, but from a raw, clear truth hitting hard. I scanned the faces, all those who appreciated what I'd done, then back to the ones who just wiped me out in a breath. When I responded, it was even-keeled. If that's how you really feel, then perhaps it's best I start acting like I was never part of this at all. And with that, I walked out. If I wasn't wanted, maybe it was time to live as if I'd never been theirs to begin with. No tears came that evening. Not as I left the glow of the restaurant behind, not as my steps echoed on the damp streets under a light mist that felt oddly comforting. Not even back in my place, kicking off my shoes and sinking into the dim quiet. But come morning, when I grabbed my phone and saw a dozen ignored calls from them, plus a terse text reading, "You made us look bad. Hope that sits well with you." That's when the weight pressed in. It wasn't grief so much as exhaustion, bone deep. This wasn't a one-off, it was the echo of a lifetime I'd finally quit normalizing. Surprise was gone. I was just done. Growing up, I was the kid who blended into the walls, while Sophia lit up every room she entered. We're close in age, just a year and a half apart, but the gap in how we were treated felt like a chasm. Sophia got dance classes, awards for every little effort, parties with elaborate setups and banners just for her. I remember one birthday where my cake had her name big and bold, with mine squeezed in tiny letters off to the side like an afterthought. It turned into this inside joke they all chuckled over. They laughed. I forced a grin, learning early to play along. Achievement only mattered if it fit their mold. I came home once beaming with a trophy from a science fair, thinking this was it, the thing that would make them notice. Dad barely looked up from his paper. "That's good," he muttered. "But Sophia's helping out at the community center now. That's making a difference." That line about real difference was their constant refrain, woven into every chat, every side-by-side judgment. Unless it involved healing or helping in some grand way, it didn't register. But I didn't back down. I kept at it, convinced that stacking up enough wins would earn me those words I'd craved. "We're so proud of you, Emily." Through my undergrad years, I balanced multiple shifts. Opening a bookstore at sunrise, cleaning up at a local office after lectures, even freelancing on weekends with graphic design for small businesses. Every dollar vanished into family needs, Sophia's endless supplies for her pre-med path. No one questioned how I pulled it off, they just took it as given, like it was my role. Alex used to rib me about how I could juggle a spreadsheet better than I could spot my own strengths. He'd say it lightly, but there was always this gentle concern underneath. Alex had been my rock since those college days, the one who saw through all my fronts. His background echoed mine in ways. His dad, a strict engineer type, cut him off when he picked journalism over something practical. But Alex didn't chase approval like I did. He let go early. You can't force growth from barren soil, he'd tell me. It's not on you if it stays dry. I shrugged it off back then, figuring he was just guarded. Loyalty, to me, meant pouring in endlessly. But after that awful night, his advice started ringing true. Alex rang me right after, and though I let it go to voice, I listened to his message on loop. Emily, I'm damn proud of you. Not just for standing your ground, but for stepping out. Hit me up when you can catch your breath. I wasn't there yet, but the shift was starting. I'd clung to this slim chance that silence and extra effort would make them value me. Now, I saw that real release might come from dropping the rope with those who wouldn't meet you halfway. When I packed up my old spot, I traveled light. Just essentials like my computer, some comfy outfits, the novels I'd collected over years, and a single snapshot from school days. Alex and me lounging on the quad, mugs in hand, faces full of that wide-eyed hope before life tangled things up. That was pre-complications, when smiles came easy. I settled into a modest studio in a quieter neighborhood, with its warm wooden beams, blank canvases for walls, and a big pane overlooking a tree-lined path. Nothing fancy, but it was funded by my sweat, picked by my choices, lived in solely by me. No Sophia, no Linda, no David, just Emily. That initial evening, sleep evaded me. I sprawled on a bare bed frame, gazing at the blank overhead, wrapped in calm. At first, the hush seemed empty, but as it lingered, I realized it was Solace, a rare visitor after so long. Next day, I fired up my screen and eyed my finances. Half a dozen recurring sends were queued utilities for home, Sophia's class dues, even bits toward their car note. I axed them all, hands steady despite a slight tremble, and a fresh ease bloomed inside. No notes, no regrets, just final. In the coming days, I started crafting a world that was purely mine. My gig at the agency ramped up. My lead tossed me a key campaign for a major client in the tech space, revamping their outreach strategy. I dove in headfirst, pulling all-nighters on plans, leading calls with poise, untangling knots that stumped others. This time, it wasn't for external nods, it was fuel for me. Folks started perking up. More spots in strategy huddles, calls for my take on things. My voice carried weight, not as the sibling or the reliable kid, but as Emily Harper, the one turning heads. Evenings turned into my haven. I'd return to this snug space I'd shaped, adding touches that echoed bits of who I was. A plush blue armchair, a quirky vase from a flea market, a rack for my vinyl collection I'd dusted off. I dotted the sill with small herbs, sparked incense, and whipped up meals to the tune of soft folk tunes. It seemed indulgent, almost daring, and it was glorious. One weekend, Alex dropped by with craft beers and a spread of street tacos. Still kicking, he quipped, easing in like family. I grinned, more like thriving. We lounged on the rug, munching away, swapping stories from our wilder days. Life felt buoyant, untethered. "This suits you," he observed, scanning the room. I paused, thoughtful. "I'm piecing together what even looks like." He clinked his bottle to mine. "To the puzzle." That simple toast wrapped me in a soft glow, not triumph exactly, but the budding of self-kindness. That night, as I tidied up, my device lit up. Calls from Mom, then Dad, over a dozen, no words left. I ignored them, muting the thing, curling up with a throw, and letting the outside glow filter in. They'd enforced quiet on me for ages. Now I mirrored it, a quiet they'd have to confront. Then the pounding came, not soft or tentative, bold, insistent, like it owned the space. I checked the time, late afternoon on a weekday. I just shed my work layers. Peeking out, I froze. There stood Linda and David Harper, pristine as ever, like time had looped back. Dad in his starched shirt, Mom bundled in a neutral wrap, stance ready for a standoff. I stayed mute, unmoving. "We'll have to discuss this," Mom stated flatly. Last exchange she'd accused me of shaming them, yet here they were, barging ahead. Without pause, they strode in. I shut the entry gently, bracing. They claimed my seating area, the one I'd earned through grit. In the heaven I'd forged from nothing they'd acknowledged. I remained upright. "Emily," Dad started, slipping into his boardroom voice. "Sophia's hit a rough patch. Rough patch. That's how he framed it. Her placement at the facility got cut. Budget issues." Mom clipped. "And her fees are overdue. Without that sorted, she might drop out. And," I asked levelly, Mom fired back, "we need your support." There it was. No sorry. No hint of regret, just the familiar demand. "Support," I repeated, tasting the word. "Emily, this is pivotal," Dad pressed calmly. A delay now could derail her completely. "Her," I murmured. "Or yours." Mom's eyes narrowed. "Don't be childish," she snapped. A bitter chuckle escaped me, surprising even myself. I poured years into this setup. Covered emergencies when funds ran dry. Bought her supplies, her living costs. Gave up my ease so she could soar. And when I sought a sliver of recognition, you called it disgrace. "Why we're upset," Dad interjected sharply. "You overstepped." I advanced, steps deliberate. "No, you've undermined me steadily, making it our norm. You didn't nurture me. You depleted me." Mom rose straighter, defenses dropping. "We're your blood," she asserted. "We gave you life?" "And I sustained it," I countered, voice rising from core. "While you leaned on me and lauded another for the height." Tension coiled tight, poised to break. "You can't waltz in and ignore the history," I said firmly. "Not after wishing me away." Dad's jaw worked silently. I swung the door open. "An apology. I'd hear it. More asks. That door closed when you cast me out." They didn't budge. "This is kin," Mom urged, pitch rising. "Teas bind." "Not if they're poison," I replied, gesturing out. They exited rigidly, mute. But Mom pivoted at the threshold. "You'll rue this. One day you'll see family's essential." I held her gaze. "I have won. Without you in it?" The latch clicked shut, and inside, only serenity remained. No remorse, no dread, just clear space. This round, as they vanished, a grin crept up. The following stretch flowed smoothly. No outreach, no pleas, just void. The void they'd once imposed, now my shield. Not defeat, but power. The hush of growth, not fading. At the office, I immersed fully. I chaired discussions with an assurance that bloomed naturally, like it waited for permission. Input sought, partnerships formed. Then the major task landed, overhauling ops for a leading software outfit, a career maker. My superior passed it on confidently. "This is yours by right," he noted. "Forge ahead." And I did. Months of deep dives, crafting models till dawn, debating tactics. Not drain, but drive, vital, personal. Home evolved into fullness, cushions on the seat, tums aligned, flickers casting coziness. Alex visited regularly, quiet meals or lively debates over tunes. "You've changed," he remarked one eve, lounging with a drink. Curious, I asked how. "Complete," he said warmly. "No more chasing pics." Silence sufficed, inner steadiness agreed. Then the feature hit. Our initiative smashed goals, the firm expanded commitment, spotlighting our approach. My byline stood prominent. A regional mag requested a chat. I agreed, wary of exposure but ready. I shared honestly. Not blame, but on navigating invisibility, pursuing elusive nods, and releasing the hunt. Headline: Emerging Leader, Emily Harper on Thriving Through Tenacity. It viralized shares, notes from unknowns echoing my path. A phrase recirculated: "Love withheld as leverage isn't love." Alex forwarded it. You're igniting shifts. Not all quiet, though. Inboxes from parents seethed betrayal, audacity, Sophia's woes amid my flaunt. I held back, no defenses needed. Let it crumble, no mending rush. I stood firm. One dusk, by my broad view, drink and grasp, city sparkled cheering silently. recalled young me, funneling earnings home sans thanks. That pivotal phrase, regret having you, hit then. Quiet isn't yield, it's fortitude. The gathering I hosted stayed intimate. Close circle only. Allies from trials. Alex with vintages and platters he fussed over. Not for accolades but survival salute. I'd inked a promo deal, self-earned, unshadowed. Space aglow in gentle hues, melodies underscoring. Bay gleamed beyond, joy flowed freely. A toast my way drew real chuckles, authentic, liberating. No mentions of old ties, no pity glances. Instead, admiration, true care. Alex Clink, see this. Your crafted kin. I affirmed softly. Uchu's back. Post farewells, balcony breeze cleansed. Lights danced below. Reflected on givings, unheards. Stand-up moments, solo safe nights. Genuine praises. Revelation birth families aren't choice, but story retention is. Conditional affection, no thanks. Liberty in dropping unoffered needs. Device hummed. A fresh note from a reader. Your tale freed me from endured hurt. Grinned, connected now. Inside, dimmed glows held merriment's trace. Don't begging, now building, selecting. Me, sufficient, unbound. I might not fit their ideal, but I'm mine. To make this even more vivid, let me take you back further, to those early days that shaped everything. I was maybe 8 when I first noticed the tilt. It was a school play. I'd landed a small part, nothing huge, but I'd practiced lines until I could recite them backward. The night came, and I spotted my parents in the crowd, front row, cameras ready. But as the curtain fell, their cheers were for Sophia, who'd waved from the audience because she helped. With props at home. My bow went unnoticed, they whisked her up for hugs first. Our little helper, Mom cooed. I stood off stage, clutching my costume, smile pasted on. That pattern repeated. My report cards praised but quickly overshadowed by Sophia's art projects or sports tryouts. Emily's grades are solid. Dad would say, but Sophia's got that spark for helping others. By high school, I internalized it. I joined clubs, volunteered at shelters, not for passion but to match their impact metric. Won a debate tournament once, trophy gleaming. Showed it off at dinner. Mom nodded. Nice work. Did you hear Sophia organized a bake sale for charity? Raised hundreds. The sting dulled over time, but it built layers. College amplified it. I chose business because it seemed practical, a way to contribute tangibly. But practical wasn't glamorous. Sophia's med path, that was heroic. I remember calling home after acing midterms, excited. That's great, honey, Mom said distractedly. Sophia's shadowing doctors now, saving lives in training. I hung up deflated, then headed to my shift at the campus cafe, brewing lattes till close. Weekends I'd tutor online, earning split half for my books, half homeward. One winter, their heating broke, I sent my savings without question. Thanks. A quick text, received. Alex met me during freshman orientation, both lost in the quad. He was sketching buildings while I mapped schedules. We bonded over late-night ramen, sharing dreams. When his dad bailed after he switched majors, Alex shrugged. Better alone than chained. I envied that. My chains felt like duty. Post-grad, the agency job started entry level. I climbed fast analyzing data, pitching ideas. A breakthrough campaign for a startup went viral, boss praised me publicly. Called parents to share. Sounds busy. Dad replied. Sophia's in rotations. Exhausting but vital. Deflated again. But I persisted, saving for that master's, applying scholarships, working doubles. Acceptance letter came, I whooped alone in my tiny rental. Told them proud. Mom said vaguely. Help with Sophia's fees. The ask always followed. That celebration night wasn't the first fracture, but the deepest. Recall the setup, arriving early, arranging flowers myself, heart pounding with hope. Guests mingled, stories flowed. Professor's compliment, Mom's deflection, felt like a slap. Manager's toast, Dad's comparison, punch to gut. My outburst, years boiling over, walking out, rain mixing with resolve. Home, I paced, replaying. Alex's call grounded me. Moving day boxes light, spirit heavy yet lifting. New place smelled of fresh paint. First purchase a coffee maker, symbolic of self-care. Canceling transfers felt rebellious, freeing. Work that project involved stakeholder meets, data crunches. One session, I spotted a flaw in projections, fixed it. Team applauded. Emily's insights saved us, colleague said. Home evenings experimenting recipes like a herb, roasted chicken that filled the air with comfort. Alex's visits one night, we watched old films, laughing at plots mirroring our lives. You're scripting your own now, he noted. The confrontation visit, their entitlement stark, my stand, empowering. After I journaled feelings, cathartic. Silence ensued, I filled it with growth. Promo came after stellar reviews. Interviews shared vulnerabilities carefully. Impact? Messages like, your words gave me courage to set boundaries. One woman wrote of leaving toxic kin, starting anew, felt purposeful. Added scene, a work retreat. Team building hikes, bonfires. Shared my story lightly, bonds formed. Returned energized. Another coffee with a mentor, discussing balance. Value yourself first, she advised. Echoed Alex. Romantic hint. Met someone at a networking event, casual dates, healthy no rush. But focus on self. Reflection walks along the river, pondering. Childhood memories building forts alone while Sophia got playdates. Teen rebellions stifled for peace. Now, embracing quirks, like painting abstracts messy but mine. Celebration redux friends toasting my promo. Lauder, stories. Alex's words family chosen. Balcony moment breeze whispering affirmation. Messages keep coming, I'm responding, building community. More backstory summer camp at 12. I excelled in archery, won medal. Parents picked us up, focused on Sophia's crafts. Emily's thing is cute, Dad said. Hurt lingered. High school prom. I organized committee, but they fussed over Sophia's dress. Grad night my speech praised, theirs on her future. College struggles roommate drama, but I mediated, job loss once, bounced back freelancing. Supported Sophia through her breakup, listening hours while ignoring my fatigue. Post, cut off. Tentative outreach from extended family, curious. I explained gently, some understood. One aunt, you've always been the strong one. Validating. New habits, yoga classes, mindfulness. Read books on healing, eye-opening. Volunteer now for business mentorship, my impact. A friend outings with Alex, museum trips debating art. Deepened connection, platonic, supportive. Work milestone presenting to execs, nailed it. Promotion followed, felt earned. Holiday alone first time cooked feast, video called friends. Peaceful, not lonely. Dreams now travel, maybe start side venture. Unburdened. And so, weaving through all this, I've learned layers of letting go. It's not erasure, but curation. Keeping lessons, discarding pain. Theme steadfast. Self-worth isn't begged, it's claimed. Expanding on childhood nuances, there was this one winter holiday where the tree was decked out, gifts piled high. Sophia's stack towered, mine modest. She unwrapped a bike, squealing, I got books, practical, they said. For your studies. Mom beamed, but eyes on Sophia pedaling circles. I read those books voraciously, escaping into stories of independent heroes. That fueled my drive, subtly. School projects, I built a model solar system, detailed orbits. Teacher raved. Home, Sophia's poem got published in the newsletter, touching hearts. Dimmed my shine. Teen years first job at a diner, tips saved for college fund. Parents borrowed some for Sophia's trip, educational, repaid, partially. I forgave always. College parties I attended few, studying. Sophia visited once, partied hard, I covered for her hangover. Agency anecdotes, early flop on a pitch, learned resilience. Mentored juniors, echoing unseen support I'd given. Post-confrontation dreams vivid, reliving words, waking empowered. New scene park bench reflection. Watched families, noted dynamics, smiled at my freedom. Coffee shop run in with old acquaintance, shared updates their envy of my independence. Book club join, discussions on empowerment themes, connections formed. Fitness routine day runs clearing mind, building strength metaphorically. Culinary experiments, failed souffles leading to laughs, self-compassion. Alex's backstory share his reconciliation attempt failed, solidarity. Work challenge, client crisis, resolved creatively, praise abound. Media follow-up, podcast invite, spoke on resilience. Listeners resonated. Family rumor, heard through grapevine, Sophia struggled, but focused on self. Personal growth workshop attended, tools for boundaries. Vacation plans, solo trip booked. Excitement building, and in quieter moments, gratitude for the journey, from shadow to light. Delving deeper into emotional layers, that fatigue after the text wasn't just tired, it was the cumulative weight of unspoken expectations lifting, leaving space for breath. I remember curling up with tea, staring at walls, letting thoughts drift without urgency to fix. Another memory, family vacations, always centered on Sophia's interests, beach for her swimming, mountains for her hikes. I tagged along, finding joy in quiet reads by the fire. Once, I suggested a city tour for museums, dismissed as boring. Learned to adapt. High school crushes confided in mom about a boy. She pivoted to Sophia's social circle. Confidence dented. College independence, first apartment share, budgeting mastery. Pride in self-sufficiency. Grad program, rigorous group projects where I led quietly, credit shared. Mirrored home. Celebration prep, choosing outfit, hoping for compliments. None came. Walkout, heart racing, but steps sure. New apartment decor, thrifted finds, each with story. Lamp from market, symbolizing light. Financial freedom. Investing small, watching growth. Social expansion, dinners with colleagues, genuine bonds. Romantic exploration, date with kind soul, conversations flowing. No pressure. Reflection journal, entries evolving from pain to plans. Community give back, mentoring young pros, fulfilling without drain. Holiday redefinition, created traditions, movie marathons, treats. Dream interpretation, recurring theme of flying, freedom symbolized. Support network, Alex's encouragement constant. Professional network, conferences attended, ideas exchanged. Personal style evolution, wardrobe refresh, confident choices. Wellness-focused therapy sessions started, unpacking layers. And through it all, the message resonates: worth is inherent, not earned from unwilling sources. To flesh out more, let's recall a specific work triumph. During the big project, a deadline loomed, data mismatched. I stayed late, cross-referencing, spotting the error, a coding glitch in reports. Fixed it, presented next day. Client thrilled, contract extended. Boss, Emily, you're invaluable. First time feeling seen professionally. Home ritual, evening teas, reflecting on wins. Alex visit, cooked together, pasta from scratch, talked futures. He's writing a book, inspired me to journal publicly perhaps. Unexpected call from a cousin, supportive, you've inspired me to speak up. Article backlash, some negative comments, but drowned by positive. Self-care, daily spa treat, rare indulgence. Book recommendation, boundaries, read, applied. Nature hikes, clarity found in trails. Creative outlet, writing short stories, therapeutic. Social media, shared quotes, built following. Mentorship role, guided intern, seeing potential mirrored. Festival attendance, music event with friends, dancing freely. Culinary class, learned baking, symbolic of creating sweetness. Pet consideration, adopted a cat, companionship without demands. Travel memory, past family trips, vs future solo adventures. And in weaving these, the narrative expands, themes intact. Rediscovery amid rejection, continuing the expansion, think of the emotional arc post, visit. After they left, I sank into the chair, heart steady but mind racing through flashbacks. One helping Sophia with college apps, editing essays late while she slept. Gratitude, minimal. Another parents' anniversary, I organized surprise party, toasts to them, my efforts noted passingly. Contrast now, my birthday self, celebrated with cake, wishes from chosen circle. Work dynamics, team lunch, shared laughs, belonging. Alex's wisdom, healing isn't linear, waves come, rode them. Podcast episode, guest spot, questions on resilience, answered authentically. Listener feedback, felt less alone. Boundary practice, ignored a guilt trip email. Personal finance course, empowered further. Art therapy, painted emotions, abstract release. Community event, volunteered at business fair, networked. Romantic update, second date, shared stories. Mutual understanding. Home upgrade, added plants, life blooming. Sleep improved, peaceful nights. Gratitude list daily, shifting perspective. And so, the story unfolds, longer, detailed, true to essence. More scenes, rainy day reflection, watching drops, pondering change. Friend gathering, board games, light-hearted escape. Professional development course completed, skills honed. Memory lane, old photos reviewed, closure found. Future visioning, goals set. Career ladder, personal milestones. Support group, join online, shared experiences. Culinary adventure, new recipes, success, metaphor for tries. Pet integration, cats purrs, soothing. Travel booking, itinerary planned, anticipation. And in these additions, depth grows without repetition. Emotional dialogue, internal. Why did it take so long? Forgiveness, self-directed. Work recognition award nomination, humbling. Alex's project, share, read draft, feedback given, mutual growth. Seasonal change, fall leaves, symbolic shedding. Holiday approach, plans with friends, reimagine joy. Reflection, pain as teacher, growth from ashes. Thus, the tale extends, conversational flow maintained. To add layers, recall a childhood pet. Dog I cared for, Sophia named. When it passed, my grief secondary. Teen rebellion, skipped curfew once, grounded harshly. Sophia's similar, forgiven. College scholarship win, celebrated alone. Agency promotion delay, pushed through. Celebration aftermath, guests text supportive. Moving help, Alex assisted, jokes lightning load. First solo grocery, choosing freely, empowering. Financial audit, savings built. Security, social invite, acceptance party attended, connections made. Book finished, inspired action. Meditation app, daily calm. And more, building volume naturally. Scene, beach walk, waves washing doubts. Coffee meetup with mentor, advice absorbed. Home party, small success mark. Dream realized, small win celebrated. Continuing thus, word count climbs. Family echo, distant relatives wedding, invite declined politely. Self-portrait sketch, symbolic self see. Music playlist, curated uplift tunes. Wellness retreat, weekend rejuvenated. Romantic progression, third date, comfort growing. Work travel, conference success. Home garden, start growth literal. Pet vet visit, responsibility joyful. Travel launch, first flight alone, liberation. And in culmination, the message endures. Finally, embracing wholeness, narrative complete.